set up now a mouth-watering, tantalizing finale, tantalizing crescendo for the 33rd edition of the African Cup of Nations. Now, this would be a fixture headlined by two talismanic Liverpool forwards in Sadio Mane for Senegal. The Teranga Lions have never won this particular competition before. And Blind, I listened to, Mane talk. He said, Aliou Cisse is the most criticized coach he's ever met, he's ever seen. But of course, so they would like to win this one for Aliou Cisse. And I said, maybe you haven't been to my country, Nigeria, and maybe you're new to the name Ghana Raw. You should take a look at and take a listen to that man and listen to the far cries from Nigeria, the 36 states of the Federation, the Federal Capital Territory, and of course, even Nigerians in the diaspora. And then you just know that might change your perspective. But it's a clash between a side yet to taste victory at the stage of the competition. Talk about Senegal and the Egyptian national team, the most successful in the history of the competition. So who gets it for you? The hunger to win it for a first time ever for a golden generation, or the hunger to extend history and put their names in the history books. We're talking about the Egyptian, Senegal, Egypt. Who gets it for you? Before
now, Brad James, I've been saying I don't want to make these predictions because you seem to say it's going this way and it's going the other way. Yeah. It makes it seem like you don't really understand this game. But it's beginning to reset. Yeah. It's beginning to reset, and the games are coming out quite well. But for me, I think I'll go with Senegal picking it up. These are my reasons. I've looked at AFCON competition so far, the way they're playing. I realize that the teams with the majority of experienced players seem to go farther one way or the other, especially if we have a good attack, have a good defense, and the maturity. I look at the Senegalese side, I think we have more maturity in terms of being able to handle games than the Egyptian side. Egyptian side are dependent upon Mo Salah and sometimes upon Trezeguet, but you have the Senegalese side looking at Sadio Mane, Koulibaly, name them, Idrissa Gueye, Ismail Assar, and a couple of these players, they have experience. This is the value of experience at this stage. You have to learn how to play football and get a win, even when you're not playing quite well. And that's what was lacking with teams like Nigeria. We want to play well before we win it. And you talk about coaches being criticized. It brings out the statement about General at the time not playing quite well, but was getting results. And most people would say maybe Nigeria could have been in this situation if Raw was still the coach, but it's what it is. Great performances from the Egyptian side, but I think the face and end for me. They'll give a good performance, but somewhere, somehow, the Senegalese will come upon the Egyptians, and the Senegalese will take the win for me.
And now let's look at this game from a tactical angle of it. Defensively, both sides are very resolute. Consider how many times you look at Egypt. We've got a very mean defense here. Consider just twice. Compared to the Senegalese side, we've considered just once. Heading to twice. That was one before Burkina Faso. Consider the second goal. So they're evenly matched now. Defensively, they're very resolute, so they're evenly matched. And if you talk about attack, maybe that's slightly where the Senegalese come up clutch. You think that could be the very fine margin, as to the decider or the determinant factors to where this one goes at the end of 90 minutes, attack over defense?
For me, I think the game between Egypt and Cameroon was a template to figure out what it might be against Senegal. You saw the weakness of the Egyptian side. They can play the ball and pass the ball around with some sort of skills and tactics, keep it simple. But the biggest problem is the ability to match the strength of the typical West African side. And we're going to see that come up with a Senegalese team who are quite strong from the middle, though they also struggle a bit about passing the ball around. But from the wings, they're equally good, and the attack, they're equally good. And the beautiful thing about the Senegalese, which I think the Cameroonians didn't have, is the fact that the Senegalese know how to absorb pressure. When they're in a difficult situation, they know how to keep their cool and still play the game the way they ought to be, understanding that in the long run, their chance will come and opportunity will come and probably get the win. I'm seeing the Senegal manage the Egyptians quite well in the final, and probably a chance comes and it's a goal for me. And they really need it. They really need to win this AFCON. Yeah. They've not won it before. I think that's an extra motivation for Senegal.
Now, Senegal have reached this stage before, reached in 2019, where they came up short, of course, against the Desert Foxes of Algeria. And they're here again for a second consecutive African finals. That's just what they need to break this stock and get their first ever African title. Well, time and time will tell. But you join the conversation, and of course, drop a comment when we put it out on social media as to who should money on, Egypt or, of course, Senegal.
What
this would be difficult